right from that moment, my life has never been the same because I'm like, I'm not doing it until I'm not stopping until I could get a purple Lamborghini and I pull up in the hood and I inspire all of the kids just like me. So I feel like that was the first bit of exposure that I ever saw.
What are some ways that people could run up or get like $100,000 in funding in 2025?
All right, bet. So I'm gonna tell people how to make 100,000 and how to get funding, right? Ooh. Obviously, they get the funding and they don't got no plays, or they get the funding and they get too egotistical, so they don't think they need any outside help.
All right, guys. So before we jump into the episode, just want to make a big announcement. We just launched the Motion and Success community, guys. So in this community, we're gonna be giving you the game on content, basically how to grow your profile from 0 to 100K in under a year, as well as how to make money online, getting leads for your business, more customers, more money.
Also, for the Motion and Success podcast, one of the things that I realized, we're attracting a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, and people that are just starting up their business and they're looking to start growing their business and scaling. One of the key factors to growing a business is by borrowing capital. So now when you're going out to certain banks, there's certain things that you need to do to be able to get funding for your business, to be able to start, grow, and scale what you got going on and take things to the moon. So if you're looking to go out and start growing and scaling your business like a lot of our guests has been doing, I'm going to teach you how to go out and get access to capital, access to credit cards, lines of credit, loans, things of that nature, so that way you can start growing your business. Sometimes you might just need an extra 50,000. Sometimes it might be 100,000. But listen, check us out inside the community. Go ahead and click the link down below and book a call with us. And I'm going to see you guys inside the community. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Motion and Success. Listen, guys, my name is Cody Brown, and I got my co-host with me right now.
And it's Io, and yo, we back with another great episode. I know I always say that every episode.
That's true. You ain't lying.
It's a great episode because anytime, we do these podcasts, we bring in on valuable guests, yo.
You're not lying, bro. So honestly and truly, this is going to be one of them ones because I get to speak to somebody else that's also in the credit industry. He's also killing it on the digital product side and kind of have a similar story as myself. Started off with the network marketing companies at one point. And then transition from company to company. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I ain't doing this trend no more of network marketing. We gonna try to pick up and find something else. And pretty much he has a similar background. So by the way of New York, he's actually from Harlem as well. No, Bronx.
The Bronx.
Bronx, New York. So definitely listen, guys, this is another episode that you want to tune into. This is where Motion and Success meets Zakee. Zakee, go ahead and introduce yourself, bro. Tell the people who you are, and let's get it started, man.
I appreciate y'all brothers for having me.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I'm Zakee. Just like you said, I'm in the credit space, so I help 9-to-5ers get access to capital, and I also teach them how to create cash flow with content. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what I do. Keep it simple.
That's dope, bro. I'm glad you mentioned the content part. I'm also in the content space, coaching entrepreneurs here and there. And I always see your content, bro. You're always going viral. Like, I really like your style of content when it comes to the funding. Because it's like, it is a lot of people who do funding, but the way you put out the content is so easy to grasp, bro. Like, so that's really, really dope.
Appreciate it.
I do want the backstory. Like, how'd you, how was life growing up? Like, how'd you jump into, end up getting into the funding space?
Good question. Well, I obviously needed funding, but I used to do MLM just like Cody was talking about, and that's what messed my credit up. We was making a lot of money using our credit to run our businesses. Yeah. So we already had the right mindset about credit. We was going to use it to grow. Yeah. But when we stopped making money, network marketing companies, they always changing the comp plan, changing something up. So it's like you think you're building a business for yourself, but you're really building somebody else's. Damn. So after they changed the comp plan, my income had went from $10,000 a month down to about $1,500 overnight. So my credit got messed up, my relationships got messed up, and I started being depressed. I'm like, well, I gotta get back to where I was at. And one of the things holding me back, what I realized was having bad credit.
Okay.
So during that time, when your income dropped that drastically, you was just. Like, did you have that shiny object syndrome when you was just jumping into different things, putting your money on the line? Like what was you doing during that time?
Nah, facts though. So, I didn't really have shiny object syndrome because I was already a skilled person at network marketing. So I was just looking for another company that I could take my skill set to and run up a bag. But it wasn't easy to find, finding another company that, meets the criteria, got good morals, got good ownership, and also a compensation plan where not only I can make money, but my team can make money, because that's the biggest deal. Like, I could find a way to make money because I'm good, but
Yeah.
If you don't got maybe the sauce at talking to people, maybe you ugly or whatever the case may be, you going to struggle building certain companies. And I realized that right away. So I'm like, man, I don't want to align myself with another company just for me to sign my bros up and they can't have no success. So that's when I'm like, all right, well, let me try drop shipping. Need funding for that.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. You got to buy the products before they release your bread. So then I'm like, let me try Forex. Also, you need money for that. So I'm like, damn, I keep running into the same problem is I need capital. So I'm like, man, I got to humble myself and figure out how can I start making some bread, and more importantly, how can I get my credit back in position?
But you had bad credit. So before you even went out to go get the money, like, how'd you end up fixing your credit to be able to get the bag?
Great question. So when I had messed everything up, obviously I had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So I had to borrow some money from my girl because I spent 2 years trying to figure things out because I ain't want to work no job. You making $10,000 a month at 20 years old.
Damn.
You not trying to work for nobody else. You're like, I've already proven to myself that I know how it works. So I struggled for about 2 years trying to do drop shipping, trying to do Forex, trying to start clothing brands, trying to start all of these hustles. But that's when I'm like, you know what, man, I need to put some money in my pocket. That's when I was on OfferUp. I'm just scrolling. I'm like, I seen the motorbike, it was $350. I'm like, you know what? Let me grab this bike. I feel like I lived in Venice Beach too, which is a cheat code to my story. It's kind of like living in New York. So I grabbed that bike, started doing deliveries that same day. Literally that day I made like $50. And I'm like, damn, bro, I've been broke for the last 2 years by choice. So in 5 weeks of doing DoorDash, I ran up $5K. So that's when I started to be able to reinvest that bread back into myself.
Nice. One thing I did one thing that I noticed from, going through your story too, is like you can go from company to company to company through, network marketing. But some of the things is like one thing that's never leaving is your character. You know what I mean? You might go through a failing network marketing company to another, but you're always going to learn the insights of how to talk to people, how to do a presentation, how to get the audience dragged into the conversation and actually close at the end of that presentation.
Facts.
So that's definitely some skill set that I realized that a lot of people usually they laugh at, when you say you was in a network marketing company, but being in a network marketing company will give you the toughest skin ever when it comes to business.
No.
Like that's one thing I do know for sure. If you could stick it out, put all your friends on, because listen, you're going to invite your people and you're going to be like, all right, cool, we're going to have a party. Next thing you know, you got a presentation up on the screen and you pitching your pitch, and
that's that Mr. Krabs meme. You ever saw that Mr. Krabs meme? It was a meme where it was like he was shaking, but it was like when your friend invites you to either like when your friend invites you over, but it's really a pyramid scheme.
Nah, that's crazy.
That's a fact, bro. But you definitely pushed through it all. So all right, cool. So now you transition from growing you go from growing other businesses. It's almost like a franchise model a little bit. Now you're actually building your own business now, right? So you transition to that. What's the main focus right now for you?
Helping people do what I know. So it's like I got so good at it. So it's like I've been making 6 figures probably for the last 3.5 years since I locked in. And I realized a lot of people don't know how to post good content. A lot of people don't know how to clean their credit. A lot of people don't know how to go get the capital. So I'm like, I could gatekeep this information or I could start to share it. So I started sharing it and then having more impact. Obviously I make more money by the more people I help.
Right. Okay. All right, cool. So now when it comes to like the credit cleaning, like what's like your go-to strategy when it comes to like helping out a client, and what are you usually seeing? Like what are the people coming to you with?
Everything, bro. People credit be in the worst position. Just like mine, I had everything on my credit except a bankruptcy because I was young. But yeah, people got repos, charge-offs, collections, student loans. I can see their cousins they owe. They be having everything on their credit.
Okay.
They even got jobs from when they worked at KFC when they was 16. So it's like a lot of people don't even realize like that's outdated information that need to be cleaned up.
Right. Yeah. So what would be like the first thing that you start working on? Like, are you giving them like consultations and like you give them like a mindset shift to be like, all right, cool, you're here right now, but you're trying to get here. You're trying to buy this house. You're trying to get some funding. What does that process usually look like when clients come through?
Well, it depends on the person. If I'm talking to this person that's like you guys, I don't got to do too much mindset. I know y'all just got to get back to where y'all was. But if I'm talking to somebody where it's like they don't know why they need to fix their credit, they don't know how they're going to use the funding, then I got to be like, hold on, well, you might end up in the same position if you don't know how to leverage your credit. So for the most part, I always want to make sure that people understand credit because I always tell people like, I could get you a lot of funding, but if you don't know how to use it, you're going to be back in the same position. So let's figure that out first and then let's go get the funding. Because the funding, I already know how to get funding, but I don't want you to mess up my relationships. Go get you 100,000, and they're like, yo, bro, homeboy, you sent us to, he ain't even paying us back. And I'm like, who?
Word. Now you got all these defaults, and the relationship manager looking at you like, fuck, like, why you sending on me these bad people?
Facts.
You know? So what's one of the strategies you would say? Because, you know, getting the funding is one thing, but also not knowing what to do with the funding is also another thing. And leading into bankruptcy and also like a period of, it's almost like a depression where you almost want to give up on yourself because you made the wrong mistake. Like, how can a person prevent themselves from getting the funding, like, you know, going down to the route of actual bankruptcy? Because, you know, it's possible to go down that route. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not doing the right things. What's your take on that?
They got to stop running so many plays. Like, I tell my students, like, if you buy from me, go unfollow all those other coaches. For real, because they're going to see Darius' content, they're going to see y'all content, they're going to see my content, and they're going to be like, dang, well, what he said, that's not what we doing. So I always tell people, look, if you working with me, let's work with me. So let's focus on making sure that you got an understanding of what we're doing, because worst case scenario, you can make an ebook, you can make a course, or you can start a service helping business owners get access to capital, just like I helped you. Worst case scenario, you know exactly what we did to go get the funding. So I always tell people, you can do this part-time, you can do this spare time, you don't got to do it full-time.
Okay.
I do want to know your thoughts too. Why do you think that banks, they give money to, like, let's say you could be rich, you know, you could be cash heavy, but you have bad credit. Banks will give you no money, but you could have no money and good credit, but the banks will give you money. Why do you think it's like that?
It's just like it's like a report card. Remember, the worst thing we could have on our report card wasn't even our grades growing up. It'd be them comments.
Yeah.
Your mom would be like, what you, it say talkative, it say this, it say that. And your credit report got all of those comments about you. Don't pay your shit on time. Don't pay people back at all. Always looking for credit. Like, it's your credit report shows people how you are financially. So if you got good credit, the bank looking at you like, dang, this person definitely going to pay us back, because they want to continue to be that type of person. But if you got bad credit, they like, this person don't give a F about themselves. They not going to care about us either.
Yeah, I had to mention that too, because, you know, like nowadays it's like a lot of the rappers, they come cash heavy, and then when they try to cop cribs and they try to do certain things, it's like, nah, I need to go get my credit in order. So I definitely do want to jump into the game though. Like, what are some strategies that you use to get people funding, especially like people who they have like a new LLC, they might not have the best credit, but they got a plan and they ready to get some capital to start creating some type of business for themselves and start, building something up.
So when you say they don't got the credit, what you mean? Like they got collections, or they just don't know how to use it?
So their credit profile is probably thin.
Okay.
Probably like not that much history, but it's probably like 650.
Okay. So first thing we do, we're going to obviously add some trade lines. We're going to probably run a rental karma, rent report is hacked to give you some age. And then from there, we're going to just, some people sell primaries. So if they can afford a primary, we're going to go buy them a primary, add that onto their credit report.
What's a primary for the people that don't know?
So what a primary is, it's an account that's in your name. So a lot of the times people go to like Trade Line Supply, Trade Line Genie, and they buy trade lines, which is pretty much your account showing up on my credit report. So it's kind of like I'm piggybacking off of your score. But the banks are catching on to that. So you want to make sure you got your own accounts that got your name versus somebody else's. So that's a primary account.
Okay. So it's like, what's the rest of the strategy you would say?
Oh, yeah. So once we get their profile where it need to be, we're going to start, obviously you got to make sure the LLC is set up the right way. And when you guys are setting up your LLCs, y'all keep making crazy mistakes. So do not set up an LLC without doing these two things. You want to make sure you pick a low risk industry. You don't want to put anything high risk in the name. And you want to pick a good address. So a lot of y'all go to iPost, you go to Regis, you go to Opus to get the address, which isn't a problem. But before you purchase it, you want to make sure you go to USPS, the address lookup tool. Put that address in there first, because they're going to let you know if that address is going to get blocked by the banks. So you don't want to buy the address if it pops up as a commercial mail receiving agency. If it says yes to that, you need to go find a different address. So once we get the LLC set up the right way, right address, right name, dummy website and all of that stuff, then we're going to start, building the relationships with banks. We're going to go to Chase. We're going to go to PNC or whatever banks geographically they're next to that offer like 0% funding, no doc funding. That's what we call it. And then we're going to start building those relationships anywhere from about, 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes people are like, well, why I got to wait 2 to 3 weeks? I'm like, do you want to do this the right way? You want to do this the fast way? And people are like, well, can we do both? I'm like, well, what happens in the morning when you rushing to work? They like, well, I make a lot of mistakes. So I'm like, we don't want to do that right now. We want to make sure we get you the maximum amount of funding so you can run as many plays as you want.
Exactly. That's definitely
And then
true.
we don't apply online. We apply with our BRMs, our business relationship managers, because when you apply with one of them, they work directly with the underwriter. So you're more than likely going to get a higher limit versus going applying online. It's kind of like applying on Indeed.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, I'd be applying for everything. I don't apply to be an astronaut, a zookeeper, a bunch of stuff. But you would get instantly rejected, even for the stuff that you qualify for, to qualify for. It's the same way with the bank. So you could get denied even if you qualify just because you're applying the wrong way. Yo, what's going on? If you're a real estate investor and you're looking for capital for your next fix and flip or your next deal, I'm going to give you 3 banks that you could get some funding at 0% interest. The first place we're going to go to is Chase Bank. Y'all already know Chase is the plug. We're going to get $150,000 from Chase without showing any proof of revenue, and they pull Experian. The next place we're going to go to is Truist. They're going to give you up to $25,000 and they pull Equifax. And then last but not least, we're going to go to US Bank, but we're not going to go there right away. We're going to make sure that we leverage that one later because they're going to give you a 0% interest balance transfer. So now you can take your money and give yourself a little bit more time. So I'm going to be breaking down more step-by-step plays on a 5-day live workshop, guys. I'm going to teach you how to clean your credit. I'm going to teach you how to build it in the way that the bank's going to think is sexy. Then I'm going to show you how to go get $100,000 plus in funding using just the LLC with no documentation needed. Then I'm going to show you how to take those 2 concepts I just showed you and how to create a 6-figure business running it part-time. So all you got to do to lock in your seat to this class is go to digitalfreedommentorship.com or click the link in the description and make sure you guys comment done when you're ready to lock in. Let's get it. Let's go.
Why is that though? Like, cause I'm thinking like a lot of people too, like I do see them in the funding space, they got good credit. They feel like they got enough confidence to walk into the bank and get what they want. And then they end up getting denied and they be having to come tap in with one of you guys. So why is that?
It's language. It's just like a lot of people don't know how to speak the banker's language. So they hear us talk about no doc funding. So they start going in the bank talking about no doc funding. Yeah. And the banker's like, what are you talking about? That's not on our website. So unto them, they're kind of like, they're ignorant to how you talk to a banker. How do you talk to a BRM? How do you talk to somebody actually in the bank? And they don't know the data points. They don't know what the bank is looking for. So I remember I had this one client. She had an 800 credit score. Her name was Kayla. And she had just got denied by Chase. She like, bro, what's going on? I got denied. I got an 800 credit score. This doesn't make any sense. So I asked her, like, how'd you apply? She said online. I said, did you have a business bank account set up? She said, no. I said, that's 2 mistakes right there. So then we got her business bank account set up. We put about $1,000 in there. And then we took her through the BRM after about 30 days after she got a bank statement. And then we were able to turn those denials to a $60,000 approval without no docs. So just, they don't know what they don't know.
It's almost like a night and day difference a lot of times, bro. Cause I didn't see the same thing where the clients come through. It's like, yo, I got a little $5,000 approval. Next thing you know, you put them through the entire process. They get $55,000, $60,000, $75,000 on one credit card.
Game changer.
One credit card. So working with, a funding company is almost like, a pivotal decision that you can do that will definitely, shape you in a great position.
Nah, facts. I had this one client, he Jamaican, he from New York too, right? So I told him, I'm like, bro, look, it's going to be 10%. He like, I ain't paying you 10%. I'm going to do this myself. I'm like, look, bro, it's up to you. It's your life.
Yeah.
So what he did was he went to the bank. He tried to do it himself. They only hit him with $5K. He called me right after he left the bank like, bro, I messed up. Is there any way for me to fix it? I'm like, I don't know. Let me call the banker, see what they saying. So, I put him back in contact with the banker. We were able to turn his $5K into $50,000.
Yeah.
Now we good friends.
So let me ask you a little question. This is just a thought before, right? And I see the value in it, but this is I think this will help people get over the edge too. At one point, I'm like, all right, cool. If somebody helped me to get $100,000 in funding, why am I paying them 10%? You know what I mean? Like, what had you sold on the idea that, all right, cool, this is valuable, and here's a reason why you need to pay, for this information and also the service?
I kept running into the same problem. I tried to do what was it? Forex, drop shipping, e-com brands. You need money. If you want to run ads, you need money. So I'm like, I could keep trying to, force the issue and try to do it my way, or I could do what 80% of businesses can't do, and that's learn how to get capital so I can stay in business. So it was something, and like I told you guys, I was already using my credit on the right stuff when I was at MLM. Like, we would be buying materials, we'd be taking all the flights, they got to do all these damn meetings. So we taking flights using our credit. We helping people getting into the business so they can get started faster using our credit so we can get the points. It just when shit hit the fan, we didn't really understand like, damn, credit is what's building these businesses, not really just us.
Okay.
So we already had the right mindset.
Yeah. So what's some of the things that you was able to do using credit that almost like 10x your lifestyle and your life overall? Like what were some of the businesses or just things in general?
So the first thing I did, I got access to information. So after I did the DoorDash play, I ran up 5,000 in about 4.5, 5 weeks. I took all of that money and I reinvested it into myself. I bought mentorships. I bought courses that taught me how to clean credit, taught me how to build credit, taught me how to market myself. So then it was like, oh, damn, like, okay, I'm getting better. And as I'm getting better, I'm making more money. So it's like the only way you can get more money is if by becoming a better person. So that's when I got sold to the idea of like every time I got credit, I'm either going to invest it into myself or I'm going to go out there and run some plays like you probably want to know, like I done got the event space. I probably done got, I just was talking to Charles. I got a land bank property running one of his plays.
Nice.
I got a duplex out in South Carolina. I got an e-com brand. So it's like I'm running a lot of plays using my credit, but I always tell people like don't start every play at the same time because unless you know that joint's making you some bread, you're gonna be over leveraged. So the first investment you should make is in yourself, either getting a high income skill or just getting that mindset that you need to go to the next level because that's what be keeping us where we at. It's just we don't know, we not been exposed to like where we can really go in life.
Talk about exposure, like. I know you be rocking out with Darius and everything. You got you got a whole different exposure to life now. How has that helped you out overall in your business?
Getting eyes on me or getting information?
Exposure in general. Even the PJ. I see you in the PJ too, bro. Stepping with the family. Yeah.
I mean, exposure is everything. Just like I said, you don't know what you don't know. But y'all from New York. I remember I grew up in Harlem too, right? I was on 142nd and Lenox before. Yeah. And I was on my way to summer camp. And I came outside my Aunt Sakina house. Went outside on the block and I seen Cameron and Jim Jones. They was in a purple Lamborghini. Yeah. So right from that moment, my life has never been the same because I'm like, I'm not doing it until I'm not stopping until I could get a purple Lamborghini and I pull up in the hood and I inspire all of the kids just like me. So I feel like that was the first bit of exposure that I ever saw that made me like, damn, bro, I need to lock in or I need to figure out. I mean, I knew they was rappers, but I need to figure something out because I ain't no rapper. I'm not good at rapping right now. So I need to figure out how can I lock in? How can I get myself in that position? And then just having that desire to always put myself in rooms and networks of people so that I can learn more, earn more, and then ultimately like get the blueprint. Because if you hang around 5 people, all they talk about is Zaza, you're going to be high as shit with them broke. But if you hang around 5 people that know how to get some money, you're going to be the 6th person that getting some money. So it's just about changing your circle so that you can, get where you want to get fast.
You want to know what's so funny, bro? I remember one time, I think I went out to probably like a party or I think it was probably Labor Day or a party or whatever the case may be. And it just clicked to me, bro. Like I hear dudes talking about there's a difference between different kind of weed. They got Zaza, they got sprayed on stuff. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, and I see how, like, your circle of friends can be like, it could be either beneficial or also detrimental. Because I'm lost. I'm like, they over here arguing, nah, you got sprayed on weed. And I'm like, yo, bro, imagine if we was just to change up the conversation just a little bit.
Yeah, y'all arguing about who got more money or who running a better play.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine if the conversation was a little bit different. And then, you'll start seeing the difference in how you start doing things. You'll start seeing the difference on, all right, cool, how you look at yourself even. You know what I mean? A lot of times you might be hanging around people and they all see themselves as low, low-ended people. They don't have nothing going for themselves. Next thing you know, that start rubbing off on you.
Yeah.
So I started seeing like, all right, cool, like your environment definitely plays like a huge role.
Facts, bro.
In where you are and where you want to be and where you're going to be going. So, yeah.
Discipline
definitely some facts.
It's easy when you in a good environment.
Definitely easy.
Like I lived in LA and I used to see 60-year-olds skating up and down the streets. So I'm like, let me try that shit.
Yeah.
Just because I would see it every day, then I learned how to skateboard. But if I ain't see it, I wouldn't have did it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being in an environment where people working out, being in an environment where people making what's not normal seem normal is a cheat code to get in the head.
That's a fact.
What's I do want to get into like, being that you've been in the funding space for some time, you're hearing a lot of business plans, bro. Like I'm pretty sure you're hearing a lot of plans. What's the craziest one that you probably was like, nah, this is not gonna work, but it actually worked and the person ended up making a bag? Or X10 what they got the funding for.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you though. I'm super specific in my messaging with funding. So mostly the people who come to me all do real estate. So like I'd be surprised when, I get those DMs from people like, bro, I just got home, or bro, I'm locked up right now, or bro, like what should the next play be? And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, bro, you need to just like tap into my free content. But yeah, a lot of the people I'm working with are. That's why I like the funding game, because you get to pick and choose who you want to work with. So I don't like to work with people who haven't invested in themselves, because it's a convincing game. But somebody who does real estate, they already buy money. They either using hard money or a bunch of different ways, and it's costly. So if I could teach them how to get 0% or even lines of credit that are cheaper, it's more of their language. So that's what I focus on. So a lot of the people I work with do real estate. I don't really kind of deter from that.
Cool. And what's you mentioned 0% credit cards. How do people go about, getting approved for those?
You got
I'm hearing those a lot.
Yeah.
But I know it's not that easy to probably get.
Nah, it's not easy if you do it the wrong way. So if you do what Kayla did, like I was telling you earlier, if you just go apply online without no relationship, it's practically impossible. But if you do it the right way, it's not sexy. If you go open up the bank account, you can even go on LinkedIn and look for BRMs in your state. So, it's that simple to find the people to apply with. Or you could just talk to the person at the bank, say, hey, I'm a business owner looking to get access to capital. Is there any way that you can help me and assist me with this process? They're going to start smiling, because that's what they get paid to do. So I would tell people it's not hard, but it's not easy if you're not going to follow that blueprint. And then if, let's say, you don't live by Chase, you don't live by US Bank, you don't live by PNC, you can go to websites like ibanknet.com, Bank Branch Locator, or even ChatGPT. I'll be going crazy with the AI. You go straight to ChatGPT, say, list 10 banks in my state, and also give me the bureaus that they're going to pull from. And literally, the chat going to start cooking up. They're going to start saying Chase, PNC, US Bank, Wells Fargo. And then they also going to tell you all of the bureaus that they pull from as well. So if you smart, you feel me, you could put it together.
And mind you, y'all, he just dropped the heavy play just now, bro, with the LinkedIn play.
Yeah.
If you get yourself on LinkedIn, you go ahead, start typing in business relationship managers. But like, I done searched up business relate. I'm on the phone with these people. I've never seen them in person. I've never seen some of their faces. Like, oh shit, that's how you look. And they all on LinkedIn. You just go search up their name and you'll be able to find yourself a nice relationship manager.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you get one solid good relationship manager. It don't even matter what bank it is. Like, it can also be like, let's say Chase. You'll be able to run up a crazy bag off that one play right there.
And the rep too, because they get paid off performance. So that's why they want to work with us. A lot of people are like, well, why is it going to work? Because they get paid off of KPIs. The more people they help get approved, they get bonuses. And I've even heard that they get a percentage of the funding that we actually spend on.
Yeah, each transaction.
It makes sense for them to work with people like us, especially if we doing all of the hard work. We finding the clients, we making sure that they're qualified, we telling them to set up the accounts, we making sure that the LLC is structured. It's like, damn, we should be working at the bank, not them.
Yeah, right. What's some of the horror stories you done seen, working with certain clients and things of that nature, like, or just in general when it comes to business?
Obviously, they get the funding in, they don't got no plays, or they get the funding in, they get too egotistical, so they don't think they need any outside help. I just needed the 50,000, but you don't even have a blueprint. You don't have anybody that you learned from on how to execute that 50,000 the right way. So I would say seeing people literally, like, they go from being happy AF to having the funding to being damn near depressed because they done ran through it on 10 different business ideas and ain't nothing working. So I always tell people, like I told you earlier, have something that you know going to work for sure. And if you don't, invest in yourself by getting the information. You can't cheat the game. People want to cheat the game. They want to do shortcuts, but that's how you end up lost.
That makes a lot of sense, because I'm even thinking, I'm like, damn, like, you get all this money, but you kind of, your mindset really ain't changed that much. You still kind of like skeptical, like everything's a scam to you. You don't want to invest into yourself. Now you go out and you try, like you said, 10 different business plans. You lose a whole ton of money. Now you put yourself in a bad financial situation. So what are some places outside of real estate, what are some other fields that you feel like people make their money back or, multiply their money?
Great question. I would say education. Because people don't know what they don't know. And a lot of people want to get to that level fast, and they don't realize that the bridge between where they want to go and where they at is just information. So if I teach you how to get funding, or you already had sauce on, let's say you know how to do taxes, or you know how to clean credit, or you just got something that the average person doesn't know, if you can monetize that skill set by putting in the ebook, creating a course, some type of digital product, you can run up a bag. And the reason why I love the digital space is low overhead. When I bought my real estate, it cost a lot of money and I still got to fix it up. But when I put an ebook together, I could go to ChatGPT, write the ebook. I go to Canva, make the cover. And in 30 minutes, I got a digital piece of real estate that I could sell over and over and over and over again. That's not costing me nothing to sell it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And you went viral recently for like a crazy play you had mentioned. Well, you know, some information people probably didn't even know. Where you mentioned, you said, you know, late payments is illegal, and you gave people the ChatGPT play. It's 2025, so like, what is another strategy or some information people don't know, like, that you could give out to the audience right now?
As far as like what topic, content or credit?
Credit.
Credit. Well, as far as credit, a lot of people get the 0% interest funding and they don't realize that they can do a balance transfer. So usually when you get 0% interest funding, they give you anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And then people are like, oh shit, like what's next? If you haven't paid it all back, now you could go to places like US Bank, Truist, and you could transfer that debt over and give yourself another 12, 15 months to figure it out. So I feel like that's a play that a lot of people don't realize is keeping them stuck, because they're like, man, like, what if I don't figure it out in 12 months? All right, well, look, you figure it out in 24 months. How about 36? Because we can keep transferring the debt over and over and over. It's no expiration date to how many times we could transfer our balance.
Right, right. But also, one of the most important things too, you know, it's like, all right, cool. Now people is like, they get in that mindset, they want to transfer the debt over and over. But it's like, sometimes you got to shake them up a little bit. Like, yo, we have to start making some money in the business. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just keep transferring the debt from one card to another. And next thing you know, you just stuck. But then again, like, it's like we also got to give them that shaking part too. Like, yo, wake up. Like, we got to start moving.
Yeah.
That's some of the things I be seeing too.
But it depends what they're doing, because if they doing real estate,
real estate
two balance transfers, they could go refinance the property, they could sell it. Now they just paid the banks back and they ain't lose out. So that's what I'm talking to. I'm talking to the real estate professional versus like somebody trying to start a clothing line. You know what I'm saying? All right, bro, you can't just keep getting more inventory, bro. You're going to have to, obviously run up a bag.
That's a fact.
Always be in the hole. But for people in the real estate, the balance transfer plays are great, because sometimes it might take you a little bit more time to get out that deal. And that's going to be a game changer for them. But that's what I use. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a deal right now. Luckily, we bought the property for $20,000 in South Carolina. I put up 10 bands. My partner put up 10 bands. So we both use 0% interest cards. Then we also had to show proof of funds in our bank account, because we used a hard money lender. So we used another business credit card, liquidated it, put it in our bank account, just show them that we could actually afford this property. So then once they finance the property, all we doing now is refining the property, paying them back, paying off our credit cards. And we still got about 6 months left at 0% interest to either go run another play, or I guess just waste the 0%. So we're going to just keep running it up.
Nah, bro, you nice with it, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy how you could do so many things with credit, like, in terms of like growing really fast and making a lot more money. I do want to jump into the social media space, because, you're definitely big on that. How have you leveraged social media? Because like I said, it's a ton of people online doing credit. Like, it's a ton of people, but people always want to rock with people they could trust. And the way you provide, like, you give out your information is super easy to, absorb and things like that. So how has that transformed, your business? How has it gotten you more clients? And why didn't you decide to gatekeep? Because a lot of people's like, nah, I ain't giving this information out. Like, you got to pay me for it.
Nah, facts. I heard this thing is like, if you feel like you got to gatekeep, you don't know enough. So I feel like I know so much stuff. Like, I can't even share it on just a podcast episode. I can't share it in a 30-second clip. And a lot of times people don't realize, if I give you the play, you still might be insecure. Like, man, like, he just taught me step by step by step, but I might want his guidance because he seems like he knows this. So if I teach you, use this consumer law, go to this bank, set up your LLC this way, you still gonna have a little
question.
Like, so that's how you make your money, because people gonna want to work with you because they see you knowledgeable, and then also they still feel like they want that extra boost.
You ever had somebody who made a bag off the free sauce you gave online?
A bunch, bro. I get DMs all of the time. People tell me they done got deletions, they done got approvals. And even one of my students, well, they actually paid me, so I can't use that as an example. But one of my students, like, I sell my program for just 5 bands. Like, you get in my high ticket program, it's $5K, but I taught them how to sell high ticket, and their program costs $10,000. So she's like, yo, Coach, she don't call me coach, but she like, yo, Zai, I just closed a person for 10,000. I'm like, 10,000 what? She like dollars.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I wasn't mad, but I was like, damn, I'm happy, but I'm messing up because I just taught her how to go out there and make more money than me potentially. So that was a cool feeling because when I started working with her, she was living with her brother, like in her house, but now she got her own crib, and I got to see her life change drastically by just being able to monetize what she already knew.
Yeah. Did you end up increasing your prices after that?
Nah, it actually just happened though.
Oh,
Just a few weeks.
you might think about it now, bro. Nah, that's crazy.
You want to know what? I forgot where I heard this from. I was actually, I don't know if I was sitting in on somebody else's. Oh yeah, yesterday. So I was sitting in on a podcast one of my friends was having, and she was saying, and this kind of ties back into your situation. She was like, "Yo, she went to the director of her college, and she was like, "Yo, do you mind running a podcast?" And he said, "Yes." And then she asked him, she was like, "Yo, why'd you like how come you didn't really give me no pushback on it?" She was like, "Sometimes," he told her, "sometimes you have to have that yes to go out and feel confident in yourself to know that somebody's gonna say yes to you." You know what I mean? So now it just gives her more confidence to go out and be like, "All right, cool, shoot your shot, do your thing, shoot that $10,000 offer. He just might say yes. Go get your first apartment. It might turn you up." You know what I mean? And also you helping them out. It's like, all right, cool. Now it gives them that confidence to say, all right, cool, let me go and do this thing too. So yeah, I definitely like that. It kind of reminds me of that story. So it's so true, man. You just got to hear that one yes. That one yes can really turn you up.
Hell yeah, bro. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to, help the audience get the bag too, before, we end this podcast. So what are some ways that people could run up or get like $100,000 in funding in 2025?
All right, bet. So I'm gonna tell people how to make 100,000 and how to get funding, right? So as far as the funding, you just got to make sure your credit is in position. If your credit is in position, I'll just give you one consumer law that could delete anything off of your credit. It's 15 USC 1681 is permissible purposes. It pretty much mean that you got to give the credit bureaus or the credit agencies permission to put that stuff on your credit report. So let's say you cleaned up all your credit, you use that law. Now we got to go get 10 accounts. We got to go to Self. We got to go to Credit Strong. Got to go to Kovo, Tomo Boost, Rent Reporters, Navy Federal. We got our 10 accounts. Then we got to make sure we get some comparable credit. I always tell people tapping with the credit union. So, you could go to Alliant. I see they're giving out the bag right now. You go to DCU. You go to Navy Fed. You could go to a lot of the credit unions you drive past giving out the bag. Like I've been seeing some of the ones I live next to giving out the bag recently. So I'll tell people like just get in your car. Like you don't got to always go to the banks. I'm telling you, drive past money every single day by driving past banks that's lending it out. So drive down the block, see how many banks and credit unions you can see. Start building relationships with them. Get their entry-level credit cards, wait about 6 months, then you could go get 100,000 in business funding, obviously going to Chase, making sure you use a BRM because Chase will give you up to 150,000 without showing no proof of income as a, what they call it, for PG. So if you PG it, you can get up to 150,000. So we're going to go to Chase. They're giving out 150. Let me get that 150. And then from there, if let's just say you don't get 100,000 from Chase, you go to Amex. They'll give you 5 credit cards with just 1 inquiry. I'd recommend getting the Blue Cash and the Blue Plus because they're both 0%. A lot of people going to tell you to get the Flex cards, the Amex Gold, the Amex Platinum. But what they don't tell you is those are charge cards. You got to pay them back in full in 30 days. Versus I'd rather pay back 1% of whatever I use with the 0% card. So if I use 10 bands, I'm only paying back $100 a month. Then I also gave you the balance transfer play with that as well. So I tell people like I made my first 100,000 literally teaching people the exact things that I knew on TikTok Live. So once you know how to get funded, once you know how to clean your credit, once you know the best banks to go to, now you can get on TikTok Live. You can start giving that game out. And then you could put yourself together like a low ticket digital product, something that's $47, $97 that has the information in there. And then literally you go live 3 to 4 times a week, sell your digital product based off of what you just learned. Now you got 100,000 in cash and you got 100,000 in credit. So you can run a lot more plays.
That's crazy. Damn, bro. That basically is like you taught them how to get the bag and how to make it too. So damn, that's a crazy play right there, bro. And you mentioned you mentioned TikTok live. Like you want live teaching on TikTok?
Bro,
I heard that's a way to run up.
I heard this quote when I was scrolling TikTok one time, and the dude was like, "How do you make your money?" He was like, TikTok." He was like, "So TikTok pays you?" He was like, "No." He was like, "I go live." He was like, "So you go live? How much do you make?" He's like, "I make millions of dollars a month." He was like, "Really?" He was like, "So how do you do it?" He was like, "Well, I help my audience out. I give them game, and in return, they buy my products." What happened with me is I just kept scrolling. I went to the next piece of content. It didn't hit me until one day I woke up, I was in bed, and I saw this young girl. She went live and she was talking about like CDFI funding. It was really good live. She had hella jokes, hella personality. And then at the end she had an offer. I bought it. And that's when the next day, I followed her from that live. And when you follow somebody on TikTok, every time they go live, you get a notification.
Yeah.
So the next morning, she went live at the exact same time she went live yesterday. So I jumped on there again thinking she was about to talk about something different. She talked about the same thing, same joke, same cadence. I'm like, hold on. Okay, really good information. I already bought it, so I don't got to buy it this time. But it hit me when she was acquainted with somebody. Her homegirl, they sold the same thing. Her homegirl went on there and talked about CDFI funding. She had different jokes. She had a different personality. Really good live. I ended up buying her stuff too. Wow. Started following her. She went live the next day and she did the same thing. That's when it hit me. I said, hold on. They're making money helping people. I know a lot of sauce. Let me start doing the same thing. So from that moment, I started getting on live for breakfast. I wake up, first thing I'm doing, I didn't even brush my teeth. I'm on live. I'm teaching people how to get capital, how to clean their credit, how to grow their followers. And then I would sell my digital products, as a result, if they wanted to tap in with me. So I started doing that 3 to 4 times a day. I was literally addicted to it because I'll be making anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a live. And I ran up a bag really doing it just like that, bro.
It's crazy because it's really scary. Like, because the times we're living in right now, bro, it's like everybody's on TikTok. Like, it's people that I speak to and they're like, yo, I don't even buy from Amazon no more. Everything is TikTok shop. Or TikTok shop. They getting scared of the countdown running out of time. They end up swiping their cards. This is like, so now you kind of seeing how big, is getting TikTok, social media, and teaching on live. So that's crazy to know, bro. That right there is some real source too.
Facts. My favorite live, it would be 11 o'clock p.m. I would go live and I would finish the live probably like 12:30, 12 a.m. And then I would go to sleep already up a band. So I'd be getting the best sleep because I'm like, damn, I'm going to sleep up a band. Like, I can't wait to wake up. I'm like, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Nah, it's not. All right, well, then wake up, literally.
Do it again.
Same thing. Lunchtime, sauce. Dinner time, sauce. Then 11 p.m. sauce. I got addicted to making money, but more importantly, I was really helping people because I would go live and I'm telling people so much stuff like this how you fill out the application. This how you set up your LLC. Matter of fact, how many of y'all want to get approved tonight? You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling people how to go get approved from Amex, how to go get in the Navy Fed. I'm giving them so many plays, and in the comments, I would say, just got approved for 10 bands, just got approved for 20K, just got in Navy Fed. And I'm like, wow, I'm really helping people going live. So a lot of people I helped didn't even buy my product. You know what I'm saying? They would just get sauce because I just felt like giving it away.
Wow. I got to ask you too, because being in the digital space, how much has like content helped you build that trust with your audience? Because a lot of people, we want to sell products online, but we don't really have that much content, out. So how has you putting out so much pieces of content? Like, I'm pretty sure it helped you, make a lot of money. So like, how have you incorporated content now into your business? Like, you got a schedule, like you posting every day, like how many times a day?
I'll be honest, I don't post anymore every day just because I don't have to because I got funding. So I can run ads. Since I'm running ads in the background, I know like even when I'm not posting, I still got viral posts. And you probably gonna see one of my ads. But if you not running ads, you got to post every day. I will keep it 100 with you. And I tell people content creation is wealth creation. It's like everybody talk about real estate, but every piece of content you post is digital real estate. And you never know when somebody gonna come across that video and it's gonna change their life and make an impression of them. So I love posting content. It's literally a chance for me. I was telling them earlier, like, man, you never know who gonna see your videos. Like, I just got Ray J to follow me. I just got a bunch of like celebrities to follow me. I be getting either like the porn stars that start following me. It's like a bunch of people follow me because of the content. You know what I'm saying? It's not because of I'm doing anything weird. It's like, oh snap, this person giving out game. So like if you really learn how to put your message out there, you gonna really grow your brand. But You're gonna start to get eyeballs on you. And worst case scenario, hopefully Tyler Perry see my content. He like, yo, bro, I got a movie for you. Just off of posting the video.
You never know.
That'd be crazy, but that's the thing. Like honestly, with this, the algorithm for the financial literacy space is crazy because a lot of celebrities are in there. So although they might not follow you, they literally are in that algorithm. So you never know why you might just pop up like, yo, he giving business funding. You know, they got money, but they don't want to use their money.
Or they got bad credit.
Or they got
a lot of
bad
these
credit
celebrities
on the low.
got bad credit, bro. You'd be surprised. Like a lot of people be in my inbox like, bro, I need the funding, but first can you help me with my credit?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So where can people find you to tap in when it comes to credit repair, funding, content creation? So it's like, where can the people tap in with you, and how can they tap in with you?
Well, y'all can follow me at Smart Phone Billionaire on Instagram and YouTube. Zakee Billions on Instagram and TikTok. So I got 2 Instagrams, y'all. You could be getting a lot of money on social media. So I recommend making as many pages as you can.
Okay. All right, cool.
This is game, bro.
Absolutely, bro.
Here.
Especially that TikTok sauce.
Yeah,
man.
we jump straight into it. I know my guy, we got to wrap up because you got a web.
Oh, let me give them one play too. So one play I always want to give people is like, I gave y'all the balance transfer play. I gave y'all the BRM play. The next play I want to give you guys is you got to get in the room. I would have never learned any of this stuff trying to learn just on YouTube, trying to learn just watching 60-second videos. So I had to start paying for mentorship, paying people tens and 20 and 30 thousands of dollars so that they can get there faster. So what I'm gonna be doing for you guys is y'all don't gotta pay me $1,000, just for your group too. I'm gonna be hosting a 5-day live mentorship where I'm gonna be teaching people how to clean their credit. So now they don't gotta go hire a credit repair company. I'm gonna also show them how to build it in the way that the banks is gonna trust them. I'm gonna be getting them funded on the spot. So like teaching them what banks is giving out the bag that day, and then also teaching them how to turn it into a part-time business. So I'm gonna be doing that from June 2nd to June 6th. And I ain't even gonna charge them a bag. I'm gonna only charge these guys just $27 and $47 just to grab a ticket inside the class. So I'd recommend Percy getting the $47 joint just so you can get the replays. You know, motherfuckers is not about to just take no notes or remember this stuff. So if you guys can get access to those replays and be able to ask me questions about what you got going on, I feel like you guys are gonna get way more than you pay for. So if they want to tap into that, tap into that.
The return on investment will be crazy.
Nice.
Seeing where you at right now, bro, I definitely would say tap into the 5-day mentorship. You know, like we mentioned earlier, environment is definitely key. If you hang around 5 broke people, you're almost gonna be the 6th one. If you hang around 5 rich people, you're gonna be bound to be the next one. So definitely, this is some great work you're doing, bro. Appreciate you coming from Florida, man.
Appreciate
you know, tapping with us in New York. And definitely we'll see you guys on the next episode. This is Motion and Success. Go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace.